First on BBC One, we bring you top action from today's Premiership clash with Desmond Lynam in Match of the Day.
Good evening. For Southampton, Blackburn and Charlton, it was a Mayday call for Premiership survival today. We have Charlton against Blackburn. And Southampton at home to Leicester. And in the title race, we'll see Manchester United out to claim top spot again. They were at home to Aston Villa. And we'll watch Chelsea trying to come back from their recent bad spell. Everton were at Stamford Bridge. There are 5 other highly eventful matches to catch up on. This goal of the month. And Alan and Mark will be telling it exactly how they see it, as usual. First, it's Manchester United, 26 games unbeaten in all competitions against Aston Villa, who'd returned to winning form in their last 3 games. Well, United rested Andy Cole, and back in their starting lineup were Johnson, Scholes and Sheringham. Villa were unchanged. The commentator will be Tony Gubber. But before all the matches today, there was a minute's silence to pay respect to Sir Alf Ramsey, who died this week.
Here's Beckham. Blomqvist. Manchester United have started at 100 miles an hour. Sheringham back into Scholes! Oh, did he get a touch? Busy little man, Paul Scholes, scored 3 for England recently in the international against Poland, flinging himself at the ball played in. Well, Alex Ferguson didn't add to the 9 trophies that he's won at Old Trafford last season. But there's still the prospect of 3 this time. Scholes brings Dennis Irwin into the attack. And brought down by Steve Stone for a free kick. Yes, there's a handful of his shirt. Reminiscent from this angle of one that we saw in the World Cup. Oh, and the outcome was nearly the same. But for the presence of Southgate guarding that post. Beckham takes it. Watson got the ball out. Blomqvist. That's aimed at Scholes. Watson. Watson has run it into his own net. Scholes might have gone for goal, but he seemed to just want to play it back into the 6-yard box for a simple tap-in for a colleague. Couldn't have expected that Steve Watson would contribute an own goal. So Bobby Charlton, having joined the tributes this morning to the late Sir Alf Ramsey. Stone to Watson. Here's Draper. Villa with a few more in this attack. Watson. No offside. Here's Stone. That's awkward. Joachim. Well, Villa have haven't attacked that often in this first 33 minutes. And Julian Joachim has recorded his 14th goal of the season. And maybe Manchester United's stroll in the Old Trafford sunshine not quite so assured. And here's Dublin. Well, a bit early to accuse Manchester United of any complacency. Into time added on, and here's Teddy Sheringham with the outside of the boot. Well, for all United's pressure, that's really the first serious save that Oakes has had to make. Free kick against Alan Wright. Villa with no wall at all, really. In fact, there are two Manchester United players in there. It looks like Nicky Butt and Teddy Sheringham will presumably create a hole. Well, you know what he can do. You've got the guard against it, and it didn't appear that Villa did. David Beckham restores Manchester United's lead, courtesy of a wonderfully struck free kick. Watched by David May. Gets another chance. Oh, Blomqvist didn't control it, and then he's obstructed Draper. Surely that's a free kick. Touch let him down. Oh, Villa querying perhaps why Keith Burge hasn't given penalty. Skidded wide of the foot of the post. John Gregory far more prominent now than he was at the start of the match. Helped on by Sheringham. Calderwood just got to it, but here's Beckham. Oh, there was a push in the back of Philip Neville. Surely, penalty. Beckham's deep cross. Yes, the arm of Steve Stone was up. He was certainly culpable. Irwin to score what would be his third penalty of the season. Oh, wonderfully saved by the son of the former Manchester City player, Michael Oakes.
We started the first 20 minutes of the game admiring the stadium and admiring the opposition. I don't think we got a tackle in within the first 20 minutes, and it was only really when United scored that it livened us up a little bit, and we started to play our football. We didn't string two passes together, I don't think, in that first 20 minutes, and we just came here and we looked like a group of autograph hunters, to be honest.
What view did you have of Beckham's free kick, and are you surprised perhaps that Villa didn't put a defensive wall?
I was surprised, but I mean, even if the wall would have been there, I think it was hit so well that it's difficult to say how they could have stopped anyway. It's just the boy has got that fantastic ability to do that with set dead balls, and he's produced another one.
When our lad got brought down, I felt it was a clear-cut penalty to me, but he ended up giving obstruction, which of course pacifies the away supporters and the away players. I was asking the steward actually when the last time Manchester United actually were conceded a penalty at home in a Premiership game. I think it's black and white photos, Tony. I think you were in shorts at the time.
What were your thoughts on the second free kick? Because they didn't put up a defensive wall, did they? In fact, there were more United players standing in front of you than Villa defenders.
No, it was weird really, because as you say that there was two of our players in the wall, Butty and Teddy, so it was a little bit weird, but that helped me having someone in the wall. So all I had to do was hit the target.
Well, Villa did so well with his first free kick, Southgate heading off the line. Why did they not defend the second one so well, did you think?
Well, first of all, it's difficult to defend against because he's definitely the best in the business from that range. The keeper decides who's going to go in the wall, and I think the most important thing is getting the wall right, because without a shadow of a doubt it puts pressure on the kicker taking the free kick. Then you've got a problem. Do you put somebody in the line? On this occasion, Villa put somebody in the line at Southgate. But as you can see, when Southgate goes back in the line, a lot of players converge in the 6-yard box, and it makes it difficult for the keeper to get a sight of it. On this occasion, it works perfectly because it's a brilliant free kick and it's saved in the line by Southgate. But this is bizarre because, as I said, you've got to have a decent wall up. Now, you've got two Manchester United players in the heart of the wall, and they just split. It's wide open. No pressure on the kicker whatsoever. I mean, you know, they just go wide open there. To be fair, the free kick is absolute perfection. But what you've got to do is put pressure on the kicker, and they never done that, and they paid the penalty. It was a great free kick, though.
Certainly. United have overcome every test put in their way this season so far, but they've got a tricky little run in now of 3 away games.
Yeah, starting with Liverpool on Wednesday, which of course everyone knows there's no love lost there, and then Middlesbrough away, and Blackburn of course scrapping for the lives. But we tend to forget that Arsenal still have to win tomorrow at home to Derby, and they've got to go to Tottenham midweek, London Derby, and Leeds away as well. So I still believe that the league is definitely Manchester United's own hands.
Keeps it exciting though.
Oh yeah.
We'll have the Chelsea match later, but now it's the other end of the table and the game between Charlton and Blackburn Rovers, both of whom, like Southampton, were on 32 points. Well, nerves were jangling like crazy at the Valley, but Barry Davies remained as cool as ever.
A fine view of the Millennium Dome, the landmark for the start of a new century. And close by, the Valley of Hope or Despair, and a point of no return at the end of the last football season of the old century. It's going to be a tense afternoon for supporters of Charlton Athletic and Blackburn Rovers. Charlton make 4 changes from last Saturday's team defeated at Everton. Simon Royce is back in goal after missing 7 matches. Neil Redfern and John Robinson are recalled to midfield, and Andy Hunt is Martin Pringle's partner up front. Blackburn welcome the return of one of Brian Kidd's 5 $3 million plus signings, Keith Gillespie. Damien Duff drops down to the bench. Otherwise, the team, beaten at home by Liverpool a week ago, is given the chance to make amends. Gary Willard of Worthing is the referee. And the atmosphere in what seems to be another capacity crowd at the Valley really could not be better. These two sides met at the end of the season of 1957-58 in a 4-3 match here that Blackburn won and denied Charlton a place in the First Division. Blackburn promoted alongside West Ham. In those days there were crowds of 56,000 at the Old Valley. But the crowd here this afternoon making as much noise as they did then. Ward gets away. Still the opportunity. Gallagher goes down. And Royce came for it, was on the deck. And a real mess. And here's a chance for Gillespie, and he's wide. Well, he had more time than most, but he didn't take it. There was a moment then when Royce was sitting it out. Everybody's struggling to get the ball away. And when it came half cleared, it gave Gillespie a wonderful chance which he spurned. It's curling a bit. Pringle got a bit of it, Hunt got a bit of it. And the challenge brings the free kick, challenge on Oncho. Gary Willard on top of the game. Test for both sides, it's also a test for the referee. One slip could be so costly and frankly cost the losing club a fortune. Corner. Pringle covering the near post, Kinsella the far. Oncho with the longest run of anyone in the box. And they're massing now, and Royce gets his fist to the ball. Out by Rufus, and the shot by Gillespie. Royce is still down on the deck and hurts. And the free kick has been given, and Royce will need some attention. Did well, but fell awkwardly. Gillespie Must have wished he'd have hit a shot like that when he had a better opportunity from closer range. Gary Willard being understanding. But does there have to be a change? Can he push off the injured leg? Apparently the answer is yes. Hunt and Davidson. Stewart's too strong. Rufus gets there first. Stewart again. It's all a bit messy, but a good drive and a good save. Mills with the shot. Filing got plenty of body behind it. Mills was the only one then, until the goalkeeper intervened, who was absolutely sure what he was trying to do. Croft. Ward on the far post from the kicker. Here on the nearest. Gallagher! That's a good try. Got plenty of weight behind the shot. And, Royce managing to get off the ground well enough to turn it over the top and away from the hopeful Ward. Halfway point of the first half. Ashley Ward, but he used a Charlton back. One of the more noted of the Charlton Athletic supporters, Michael Grade. Concern at the clearance, and not surprisingly this is Gillespie. That's a fine tackle by Mark Kinsella that saves his goalkeeper's embarrassment. You can understand that he would make a few observations after it. Crowd's anxiety certainly communicated itself then. It's a little short. Royce was almost too quick. Didn't make a clean strike of the ball at all. Pringle. That's good running by Stewart. Challenge a little late by Pringle, and the booking list is growing. Certainly was short, but look at that. That's the leg that's got the bandage on it just below the knee. Ward. Physical presence has often been a problem. Gallagher. McAteer. Ward again. Sense an increase of tension every time Blackburn get the ball into the Charlton box. Good header from the back, excellent header off the line by Pringle. Really did well then, but it was a very good, strong, positive header. And he just managed to scrape it away. Seven Charlton players hoping for a good cross from the skipper. Tyler didn't make it. Ashley Ward, who's headed across the face. Not away yet. Tyler, all a mess again. Unbelievable scramble. Robinson went down. The referee had a very good view. Chance of a break now if it's played. Gillespie holds on when he should have used it. Again, easier to see from up here. Now Wilcox goes away. There's still possibilities here for Blackburn Rovers, and all they get out of it is a corner. We had half the stoppage time. Same formation. Good claim. It's a blank sheet at half-time, somewhat in spite of rather than because of, and the best chances really fell to Keith Gillespie. The first one he may look back on with some regret if Blackburn do not win this fixture. He had two other opportunities, shot from distance that was headed out, and then a mistake by the goalkeeper. But it's been full of mistakes, and Pringle coming to the rescue of Charlton Athletic with his headed clearance off the line. A frenetic opening half, which ends with a blank score sheet. It's curious to think that had these two met each other in August, it would have been the team at the top of the table against one who fancied a good run in Europe. Now the loser will be on the last nail of survival. Pringle. Challenged by Anchot. Pringle, and Redfern couldn't get there. Tyler, Pringle, it's wide. One or two in the crowd thought it was in, but it was side netting. Pringle turned on it, was Carsley who blocked. And Phelan, as he came for it, found it going past him, but into the side netting. Here's Davidson, drove it at Pedersen, and that came off foul from Jason McAteer. Appeal for handball, Jason McAteer, it certainly wasn't. But the block fell kindly for Charlton, well hit. Powell had got across, and there were three men in the line of fire. Pedersen, that's a better clearing punch. Hunt and Peacock. Peacock won it. Mills. Stewart. He hasn't made enough of the possession, but he won it back well. And here's Redfern. Good parry, and Croft on hand to put it out of harm's way. Really got it back well after making a mistake. Stewart, good strike, and good parry. Extra header from Gallagher was important. And Omar Pedersen now in the Blackburn half. Stewart is the back man. That's a better ball from him this time. And Redfern again! Searing drive with his left. After forcing exertions from Filan with his right. This time the goalkeeper able to watch it go away. It's been a somewhat frustrating afternoon for the supporters of both sides. What a difference a goal would make. Good start. Pringle goes on ahead, Jones goes for the shot, it's going to rebound to Stewart. Good challenge by Carsley. Pringle trying to turn and does. Good save, and it had to be gathered in. The onrush of Robinson. No real power, that was clear, but it was an awkward bobbler. He did well to hold it in. 10 minutes left. It's a little bit short. Pedersen comes, and Rufus is able to clear. And Blackburn are appealing for a penalty. It was a rather wild rush out of goal. Ward hurt. Well, you have to say that Blackburn have a case. Well, I can't understand why Mr. Willard didn't see that as a penalty, but it's all a question of what view you have. Pringle just couldn't get a touch to it. And the referee blows the final whistle as Ward and Tyler take a dislike to each other, and Brian McClare comes on to try and calm things down. Ward perhaps furious that he wasn't given the penalty, but a 0-0 draw does not condemn either side. They will live to fight on. But 0-0, a disappointing afternoon in the Valley.
Mervyn, tension can have a huge effect upon play, and I think we saw that today, didn't we?
Yes, I think people who've watched the game will notice that both back fours, I think, in the first half were incredibly nervous. The ball probably didn't come down, and anybody have two passes, I think, in the first 30 minutes. So, yeah, it's very, very tense, but it's understandable because obviously it means so much to everybody.
I think if you look at the possession, we probably just shaded it, but I think on the chances, they had the better chances, definitely. You know, we just keep plugging away. Obviously, we've just come off the back of 2 4-1 defeats, you know, and we've sort of turned it around a little bit today with 2 games left. We're running out of games, but it's sort of still in us, you know, we've still got to keep battling and fighting because there's a few twists and turns yet to the end of the season, I think.
Alan Kerbishley had said if we don't win at home, we don't deserve to stay up. You've got one more chance to win at home, but you probably need at least a point away at Villa now, don't you?
I think arguably we probably need 3 points given the fixtures the other 2 teams have got. We'll give it our best shot and see what happens. The key factor really is the last 5 games at home, you know, we haven't won a game. We've drawn 2 or 3 and we've missed a couple of penalties which, you know, at the end of the day I think could cost us. But like I say, you know, we're still living, we're still going, and the season is still there for us.
But that leaves them still in trouble, both of them. I still can't believe Blackburn are down there.
It wasn't a great game today. There's a lot at stake, obviously, a lot of tension, lots and lots of mistakes. Some of the defending went from sublime to the ridiculous, and I just thought Blackburn should have won the game, to be fair. They're the better of the chances.
They might have had a penalty?
Something to debate, Des. I mean, it's difficult to describe. There's a ball over the top. Tyler tries to find the keeper, comes up short. Ward comes in. Goalkeeper comes out. And let me tell you, that has never, ever, ever been a decision. It's just the wrong one, I'm telling you. I mean, if you look at this, and Premiership survival's at stake, then you've just got to feel for the centre forward, for Blackburn manager and their supporters, because that was you'll never see a clearer penalty.
He was pretty angry at the end, wasn't he, the player? So you probably understand why. Charlton have been conceding quite a few goals in their previous couple of matches. I think 8, wasn't it, in the previous 2? They tightened it up a bit today.
Yeah, they did. And as I said, there was a lot of mistakes, and some of the defending was poor, but other times it was terrific. And the one thing you can say about Charlton, any team that's had 7 defeats in the trot and have come back and still got a chance of survival have got something about them. And they play with such spirit and they play for each other. And if you do that, you've always got a chance. And some of the defending at times was great. Powell puts his keeper under a bit of pressure here. It's not the greatest clearance in the world. It comes to Gillespie, goalkeeper off his line. But watch the tackle from Kinsella here. That is absolutely fantastic because there's no margin for error whatsoever. And then a good piece of play from Blackburn. Davison comes in, good hit, decent save by the keeper, comes out to McAteer, and that's a great block by Powell. But this is the best piece of defending on the day. It looks simple and straightforward. Blackburn corner, it's headed down, big centre forward in the line, Pringle. It's easy, you're on the line, head against the bar and on, but he was not on the line. If you watch here from another angle, watch exactly where he is. And just watch the quickness of his feet here to get back on the line when it goes. Look at that. And that is absolutely fantastic. And for a centre forward, makes it even better.
Do well. Well, that draw looked the right result for Southampton, but could they take advantage of it at home to Leicester City? A win would lift them out of the bottom 3 for the first time this season. With Catchloul and Pahas passing late tests, Southampton's one change was the return of Letitia in place of Oakley. Saints desperately needed to end a run of 5 games without a win, but Leicester hadn't lost for 8, and Martin O'Neill kept an unchanged team. Steve Wilson saw this one.
Been a scrappy start to the game, what with injuries. But Southampton may build something here. Dodd's ball into the box. Here's half a chance. Letitia was almost onto it, and Casey Keller had to be very smartly off his line indeed. He beat Matt Letitia to that ball by a matter of inches, I should think. Keller very, very smartly off his line. Marshall's touch to Heskey. Bit of room now for Heskey. Marsden is across. That's a good cross! And it still might come from Marshall. Well, Cottee at the near post caused Southampton all sorts of problems. And Ian Marshall put it wide with a half chance. Guppy. Mark Hughes playing very deep, keeping an eye on Lennon. Good ball. Neil Lennon's delivery, and Marshall just diverted the flight beyond Moss. Letitia, good try! Almost an instant response. And hope springs eternal, and you've got somebody capable of that. And this is his corner. Not quite as dangerous. And Southampton have a real job on now. Savage to Lennon. This is Guppy. This is a problem. Well, Southampton have escaped. And Steve Guppy's not sure how. Well, Savage, from the tightest of angles, it was all the way across the penalty area. No one had picked up Robbie Savage. Good save by Moss. Jason Dodd has a little bit of room to pick out the cross, and find Marsden! Chris Marsden has given Southampton a lifeline. A simple header, and it may be a simple solution to a very complex problem for Southampton. Matt Elliott. Camargue under pressure. Well, that's just the ticket for Southampton. There's a chance, Cashel, great save by Keller. Right underneath the bar, and Pahars couldn't get to the rebound. But Casey Keller clawed it out when it seemed certain that Cashwell's header would go in. Tremendous save. Still Southampton need a goal. Mark Hughes fouled. Benali with a free kick. Well, that's a chance, it's a goal! A magnificent goal by James Beattie. Benali with a free kick, and Beattie volleyed it from the right side of the Leicester penalty area over Casey Keller into the far corner of the net, and Southampton are in front. James Beattie will remember that for a long, long time, and so will the Southampton supporters. It could keep them in the Premier League. All smiles now, if not from Dave Jones, certainly from his staff. Cashel. Impey for Leicester. Oh, Keller! Cashel is closing in. Oh, well, Casey Keller survives. The most extraordinary air kick. Well, well, well.
Full credit to the players that have come in, the youngsters and everything else. Now we've got everybody back to fitness, probably bar one, which is David Hirst. Everybody's raring to go, and we've just got to keep going and try and keep the so-called experts at bay.
Down at the Dale, they're never beaten, and they battled back, and eventually, I would agree with you, they deserved it. We didn't put enough pressure on them second half, and their impetus and galvanisation, call it what you want, got them the 3 points, and eventually well merited.
What's the spirit in the camp been like? Because this season you've yet to get out the bottom three. Today you've turned the corner and you've got out the bottom three. Have the lads been fairly relaxed about it?
I can honestly, hand on heart, I've never seen anything like it really. For a club to be in the position that we've been in for 36 games, there's no bickering, there's no falling out. It really has amazed me to come from obviously Birmingham that are pushing for promotion, and I think that's part of the secret really, and we will stay up.
Timely move out of the bottom three anyway for them. How do you read the situation at the bottom now, Mark?
Well, I think certainly today you can just see it's not about how you play, it's the points that you get. They rode the luck in the first half as well, Southampton, but got the 3 points. I certainly believe that they're capable of winning their last match at home against Everton, and when you look at the other fixtures of the other clubs, I mean Southampton, where they're supposedly going to take 9,000 fans there, Southampton, they'll be looking to get 4 points from those two games. Charlton, you wouldn't think they'll get anything at Villa. They're capable of beating Sheffield Wednesday at home. Blackburn should beat Nottingham Forest home. Manchester United, you wouldn't expect anything. And then there's a crunch one. Newcastle away, 1 week before the FA Cup final. Will they fancy it or will they not?
Good question. What's the answer? Well, now it's back to the title race and the outsiders of three. Chelsea, they'd lost their way recently, of course, no win in 4. They're visitors to Stamford Bridge today. Everton, who would be certain of their Premiership survival if they could win. The commentary comes from John Motson.
It's been quite a week for Everton's Don Hutchison. He put them on the way to victory against Charlton last weekend, then scored the winning goal on his full Scotland debut in Bremen, giving the Scots their first win on German soil for 42 years, and today he's captain of this Everton side. Chelsea's Tore Andre Flo scored twice for Norway that night too, but returned with a touch of flu, so he's on the bench, and 18-year-old Mikel Forsell is in the starting lineup, as he was when Flo was absent at Hillsborough last Sunday. Flo, in fact, on the bench with the likes of Babayaro, but the starting lineup also without Roberto Di Matteo, he's injured. But Dan Protesco and Jody Morris are both fit to return. Marcel Desailly reverts to his more accustomed centre-back position. Everton are without Dave Watson and Olivier Dacour, both injured, as well as Marco Materazzi and Scott Gemmell, both suspended. So there are recalls for Richard Dunn, Mitch Ward and Nick Barnby, and the two teenagers, Michael Ball and Francis Jeffers, were both on the England bench in Budapest on Wednesday. Referee Dermot Gallagher having conducted a minute's silence for Sir Alf Ramsey, which was impeccably observed here at Stamford Bridge, get started a match which 3 weeks ago could have had even more connotations than it does now. But Everton still need at least a point to be sure of staying in the Premiership, and Chelsea can't let third place slip. Otherwise, they put a Champions League place at stake. Forward by Lasseau. Oh, there's a spare man on the far side for Chelsea. In fact, they had two men over there. Everton seemed to lose the plot a little bit, and they might still. It is Forsell. And now Wise with Zola to his right. Here's Zola trying to come inside Unsworth. Well, Everton looked undermanned in that little skirmish from the time Chelsea first advanced. Zola now switched to the left, and Lasseau continues his run. Deep cross. Wise is coming in here for Chelsea. It was deflected. It hit a defender and flew over. It was a great move. Real width here from Graham Lasseau. Decent ball in. Everton are a bit uncertain here because Wise has got free. But there's the foot out that takes it from Unsworth over the bar. Corner to Chelsea. Leboeuf tries to get the flick on at the near post. I think that's friendly. I must admit, some of Chelsea's first-time passing in this opening period is a joy to watch. Ed de Hoy in the Chelsea goal has been virtually a spectator so far. We've played more than half of the first period. Here's Lasseau. Forsell, that'll go back, but he wants somebody in the middle and they're not there yet. Zola's arriving now far side. Morris trying to get there. Zola! He was there when it mattered. That's what you call timing your run. And Gianfranco Zola goes out on his own as Chelsea's top scorer this season in the 25th minute. Graham Lasseau, the supplier. This is really where an awful lot of Chelsea's players come from, down the left flank. There didn't seem to be anybody in there, did there? But then Zola arrived, and just look at that. It's a perfect header, clinically executed, and the Everton defence really left jumping into thin air. Just noticed that Everton have switched their formation a bit here now after the goal. Looks as though they've gone to a flat back four, with Dunn moving to right back and Weir perhaps more into the midfield. Here's Morris for Chelsea, who are very much in charge here. Wise, oh, what a great ball! It's Dan Petrescu, and it's a very good save by Thomas Meara. It was odds on that Everton were going 2 down there. Petrescu was clean through. And again, the geometry of Chelsea's football here is something to admire. The flag stayed down. It must have been a marginal decision. And Petrescu bemoans a missed opportunity. Bit tight this time. And Weir doing well for Everton. This is Hutchison. He's got Jeffers to his right. Switch the play, and Jeffers is ahead of Lasseau here. Campbell's coming in far side, and so was Barmby. Well, Everton haven't had many attacks, and with 15 minutes left in the first half, that was about their most promising. Ferrer. And again. In by Petrescu to Zola. Still not really away. It's Wise. Poyet. Again, Chelsea going for the rather fanciful 1-2 on the edge of the area. But this is Wise again. They're keeping at it. Morris. Leboeuf's through ball, brilliantly played to Zola. Dunn blocked the shot. That was a glorious pass from Frenchman to Italian. And here's the young Finn. Back to the Spaniard. And the two Frenchmen combining at the back for Chelsea. Still it's possession with the home team. Morris has got 4 to look at here in the centre. That's Zola's header, and it might be Zola's shot. He's been at his most impudent in this first half, Gianfranco Zola, and at his most threatening as well. That was his initial header, comes back off a defender, short, and Unsworth tries to close him down as Zola's shot soars over the bar. Swung wide by Morris towards Zola. Loud applause for that pass. Here's Petrescu. Forsell goes in with his head. Corner. Forsell's there, so is Poyet. Surely, no. Oh, the referee lets play go on, and Desai trying to squeeze it in from the 6-yard box. I don't think anybody quite knew where the ball was then. Wise does now, and here comes Desai. The goalkeeper's out. 3 defenders behind him, and they were needed. Well, one of them was certainly where Everton are besieged and lucky to be only 1 down. Of that, there is no question. That's too high for Poyet, but here's Petrescu. Well, what a series of scrambles there were then. This was anybody's for a moment. Desai was there, but earlier Poyet hit the goalkeeper. Then the ball, I think, caught Jeffers on the line. Well, a Chelsea supporter behind me in the stand said if it had been a boxing match, they'd have stopped it. And he's dead right. Zola's goal is all that separates the two teams at half-time, but Chelsea have absolutely dominated the half. All the possession has been theirs, all the chances have been theirs, and Everton at the moment, for a team who are on a run of 3 successive wins, figuratively speaking, just haven't turned up. 1-0 at half-time. Well, the Danish under-21 international Peter Dane is on for the second half. He's replaced Richard Dunn. And as Chelsea kick off, it looks as though Everton may have reverted to their 5-man system, with Dane now as the right-sided wing-back, and Weir having gone into the centre with Short and Unsworth. And there may have been a few hard words exchanged in the Everton dressing room at half-time, because a few of the fans who are watching the match from near the bench made their feelings pretty clear at the end of the first half. And certainly Walter Smith and Archie Knox not the type to find that first half performance particularly acceptable. That's a great bit of play by Poyet to Lasso. Oh, it flew across the penalty area with Forsell and Zola both unable to make contact. Not much wrong there with the cross. It's a great ball by Poyet out to Lasso, and this is where most of the danger has come from. Just needed a touch. Campbell. Oh, look at this. Oh, they weren't marking closely there, and it's Jeffers who Leboeuf has to take cleanly inside the penalty area. Chelsea just going to sleep for a moment there. And they have to remind themselves, not for the first time this season, that despite all their domination, they're only 1 goal ahead. Free kick to in Lasso's favour. Poyet looking for Forsell. Oh, he's got there ahead of Myra. Short is blocking the line and heads it straight back to his goalkeeper, calm as you like. Well, Forsell certainly here is ahead of the defender and in front of the goalkeeper, gets it away from him, but Short does the right thing, he protects the goal. This is Weir. He's got 3 up with him here. Oh, good ball. Wise to Petrescu. Chelsea with 5 up against 4 Everton defenders. This is Zola. They've still got the man over in the centre. It was Petrescu and then it was Poyet. Both threw themselves at the cross and neither could make contact. What a tempting ball this is from Gianfranco Zola. And look at them coming in on it. 3 of them actually, but the 2 that might have made contact didn't. This is Don Hutchison. Had a comparatively quiet game. And then that goes for most of the Everton side. He's found Dane here. LeBeuf straight to Jeffers. And haven't we been here somewhere before? Certainly Chelsea fans have. This is what's happened in a number of home matches. They've had so much of the game and now all of a sudden they're allowing the opposition from a starting position of virtually nowhere back into it. That didn't miss by much, although De Hoy might have claimed he had it covered from Jeffers. Everton have dug that out quite well. Here's Dane, but here's Zola, and Chelsea are back at them again. Well, you really do feel the second goal has got to come. This is Petrescu. Zola. Worked out to LeBeuf, who saw the gap in front of him. Good save, Moira. This is Zola. Petrescu! Well, yes, it had to come. And at last it has. From Dan Petrescu. Exactly an hour gone. A lot of the credit here goes to Frank LeBeuf. Drive from range. Thomas Meara turned it to one side. But there were so many Chelsea players around, and Dan Petrescu just slides it in from inside the 6-yard box. 2-0 to Chelsea. But that won't save Petrescu's contribution any further because he's off and Bjarni Goldbeck comes on. I think actually Petrescu is nursing a groin injury as he goes off. Michael Ball. Jeffers, 2 up with him, Barmby to his right, Jeffers goes alone and scores! Well, what a talent this 18-year-old is surely going to be. On the England trip in midweek, and after 69 minutes here at Stamford Bridge, he scored a goal which says a lot for individual ability, especially when you're attacking 2 World Cup centre-backs, and he planted the shot beautifully away from the stationary De Hoy. And Francis Jeffers gives Everton a hope in a match with virtually that's their first decent strike at goal. Well played by Lasso. This is Forsell. Nice little touch to Poyet. Back again to Forsell. Real chance here for Chelsea again. Good block by Meara. He is good in those one-to-ones, the Everton goalkeeper. Narrows the angle well, and Forsell is left holding his head because rather like Petrescu in the first half, he's coming in here in a shooting position, but hits the keeper. Corner to Chelsea. I don't think Meara's missed a match since, or a Premiership match since he got the position. Zola. Oh, and Lambert has the referee's blown. Zola was fouled. Well spotted by Dermot Gallagher. It's going to be a booking for Everton's number 12, Craig Short. He caught Zola as he passed the ball back to Lambert. Just there. And it was Zola. Oh, look at that. It's a party piece. He does it so often, and he practices it so often, that he makes his own reward here. He's up here against a 5-6 man wall and a very good goalkeeper, but Thomas Meara's got no chance. It's over the wall and perfectly placed in the corner. Just a couple of minutes left as Everton have one of their spasmodic attacks with Jeffers. And here's Don Hutchison. Oh, it's a good ball in. Barmby's there! And brings a save at point-blank range from De Hoy. Cadamarteri now, it's not over yet. It is now. It's a goal kick. Everton protesting to the referee, but Nick Barmby really had the opportunity there. And there's a yellow card been shown to Cadamarteri for protesting. Short. Hutchison. And it's 3 very comfortable points for Chelsea. Just makes you wonder whether perhaps it could have been their championship year, but for some carelessness here in other games. Zola today was anything but careless. 2 very different types of goal, which he scored, and in between there was one from Petrescu. Just one moment when Jeffers gave Everton a glimmer of hope, but frankly this was a pallid performance by them. Chelsea controlled the match almost at will and ran out winners by 3-1.
Well, Gianluca Vialli, after a performance like that, it makes me wonder whether you conceded the championship too soon.
No, I think we tried our best, but obviously the last results weren't the best, and you know, also Manchester United and Arsenal are winning matches for fun, so it's quite difficult to keep up with them. We've tried our best, and we will still try our best until the end of the season. There are 3 matches to go, and I think we've got a job to finish.
Well, I thought we were poor today in comparison to the way that we've been playing. I think we have to give credit to Chelsea. I think they're a very good side, and I think I've been rather harshly criticised in recent weeks. I think they play very well. They played very well today, and we at no time in the game really got anywhere near them, and it was a disappointing performance from our own point of view.
Everton, I think, only troubled you once, didn't they? Once or twice, maybe?
Twice, to be fair, and yeah, it was 1 goal. And yeah, normally somebody has to go out, but Frank Leboeuf was already injured and he wants to get off. And yeah, he had too many space, and it was a good goal.
We've got to improve in terms of personality. We're much more consistent than we used to be last season or 2 seasons ago, which is something very important as a manager. I think you can keep improving all the time. I don't know if it's just a matter of bringing a couple of new players, or you've got to rely on the players you've got, and hopefully they can improve their performances. So I'm not too worried about that now. I think we have to finish the season in the best possible way, and then we will sit down with the chairman and Mr. Colin Hutchison, the manager's director, and we will see whether it's possible to sign a couple of new players.
Well, they were impressive today, Chelsea, Mark, weren't they? But it has come a little too late, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think it's definitely come too late. They've stumbled in the last few league games, I think, and drawn the last 3, but certainly they got it together again. And I think that the level of criticism you can put at them sometimes is that they do play in front of you and they can tend to overplay. But, I mean, they just destroyed Everton today, and I think they're as good with the passing and movement as any other team in the league when they get it right. Here we've just circled Wise, gets a ball in midfield. And this was the story of their day. There was always an option, always plenty of blue shirts when you were the man in possession, and it's just oh so simple, you know, lots of awareness, simple, easy passing. Ball comes in, who's on the end of it? Wise. It was very, very unfortunate not to make that the first goal, deflection off Unsworth. And what they did very, very well today, I thought, with a passion, was winning the ball back. That's Poyet wins the ball back for them this time. Again, love the reverse, into Lasso. He looks up, nobody in the area. So he waits, he has a couple of extra touches, and it's a great late run by Little Zola, and it was a great ball by Lasso that picked him out. Again, Poyet making the challenges once again. And the thing, once they get the ball, they pass it so easy, so simply. I think Little Morris again in midfield, he was very, very good today. They've always got an option. There's always people running when they play well. This time it's Petrescu from Wise's run, and again, it was a super save. But in the first half hour of that football match, they took Everton apart.
No doubt about man of the match for you.
No, Little Zola. I mean, he's brilliant, and you know, everything that Chelsea do comes through him. There's no doubt about that. And it's funny because sometimes you look at the positions. Here we have him at the top of the picture. There's some of the positions that he takes up, and you think, well, can't really be great danger out there. But he's always thinking. You know, his first touch is great. gets it out of his feet. Just a little ball into Petrescu, but it was one of those please cross me balls, wasn't it, which unfortunately for Sal couldn't really get any great purchase on the header. Here again, you know, Lebeuf's coming through on goal, and what's Zola doing standing out there? Well, he must have known Des, mustn't he, because it came straight out to him. Great early ball in. That was a second goal. Again, so simple. And this was his reward for the day. All right, had a slight deflection and took it away from Myra, but it was only something that he'd really worked for in the day. But it was brilliant today.
He's not just got great touch, he's got a great footballing brain, hasn't he?
Oh, well, he's one of those players, and we were lucky, we played one at Liverpool Dalglish, that he knows exactly what's happening and what he's going to do with the ball when it comes to him.
Yeah. They've had the same number of defeats as United and Arsenal, just 3, but they're not quite Arsenal or Manchester United, are they?
No, I think what they lack is variation of tactics. I mean, if you're going to go and watch the side play, as far as pass and move are concerned, you watch Chelsea because they're fantastic, but the great teams have all got variation, and that means pace up front. They haven't got anybody with genuine pace. If you look at Manchester United, they've got Cole. You get it at 6 yards over the top, he's onto it quick. Arsenal have got Anelka, same sort of thing. So, I mean, you've got to get it forward quickly at times, ball over the top, because the ball over the top, 50 yards, ball onto it quick in the back of the net, counts the same.
Gives you another option.
It counts the same as a 10-man movement in the back of the net, and I think that's just what they lack.
They need one of those.
Yeah.
Please. 5 more games now, brief highlights of each, and for West Ham and Leeds, don't blink or you'll definitely miss something.
Now, if you're nodding off quietly on the sofa, wake up, because there's a lot to get through here, with enough contentious moments to still be discussing on Monday. The first goal was scored after less than a minute. West Ham's defence was at 6s and 7s, and Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank's shot went through Neil Ruddock's legs and into the net. Now, Ian Wright had already been booked in the 7th minute for elbowing Alfie Haaland when he clattered into Ian Hart. As he challenged him, Hart's arm appeared to go into Wright's face. The England striker's reaction was enough for a second yellow card and the inevitable red. But instead of leaving, Wright stayed on. And on. And on. Eventually, though, order was restored. Down to 10 men, the Hammers themselves retaliated, and Trevor Sinclair was unlucky not to equalise. He and Lucas Radaby quickly recovered. In first-half injury time, Leeds went further ahead when Harry Kewell rounded the defence and squared for Alan Smith. West Ham 0, Leeds 2 at half-time, with the referee Rob Harris given an escort off the pitch, and there's loads more to come. West Ham made it 2-1 when Di Canio and Berkowitz linked up skillfully on the left. Di Canio had continued his run and he stretched to score. Would it be another of those 10-man recovery jobs? 20 minutes into the second half came another turning point as Hasselbank chased a long ball and came down in the area under the challenge of keeper Shaka Hislop. Penalty, and Mr. Harris reached for his red card again. Exit Hislop, enter Craig Forrest. Isle Berkowitz was substituted, by the way, and Ian Hart took the kick. And a happy tumble. Welcome to the game, Craig. Still following it? It's now 3-1 to Leeds and West Ham are down to 9 men. Soon afterwards, Leeds took control. Hasselbank flicked it to Bowyer, and he delightfully curled it in to make it 4-1. And still it hadn't finished. Haaland discovered that playing against 9 men leaves you acres of room to overlap into. 5-1. Harry Redknapp wouldn't talk about the referee's performance afterwards, but David O'Leary said Mr. Harris had made the right decisions, and that included, would you believe it, a third sending off. Steve Lomas was dismissed for this lunge to make it Leeds 11, West Ham 8. It's a win, incidentally, that confirms Leeds' European place.
I said to them before the game in the hotel that we'd 4 games left. I thought if we won here today, that we'd be into Europe today. And after that, as I say, we've got 3 games now left. And let's see, can we win them? And let's see what competition we can get into from there.
Anfield hasn't been a happy hunting ground of late. 2 home defeats had made the Liverpool faithful restless, and another inauspicious start didn't help. Just 13 minutes had gone when Liverpool contrived to hand Tottenham the lead. Stefan Everson's cross caused chaos, and England new cap Jamie Carragher poked the ball past his own keeper. Even worse was to follow as Liverpool's defence was exposed again. A Darren Anderton free kick found Stefan Everson's head, and Liverpool found themselves facing a third successive humiliation at home. Then came the incident that effectively changed the course of the match. As another Liverpool attack broke down, Maurizio Tirico tangled with Steve McManaman. Unfortunately, referee Stephen Lodge saw something more sinister and handed the Argentinian a second yellow card in the space of 4 minutes. It also handed Liverpool the initiative. The comeback started just after half-time. Karl-Heinz Riegler chased a lost cause and won a penalty when Ian Walker was penalised for bringing the German striker down. Up stepped Jamie Redknapp, and he duly obliged with his second goal in 8 days. The England player also played a part in Liverpool's equaliser. This time, Tottenham's defence were caught napping by a quickly taken short corner, and Redknapp's cross was headed home by an ecstatic Paul Ince. Liverpool's players have been accused of lacking heart in recent weeks. Steve McManaman has been singled out for most criticism because of his imminent move to Spain. But the England player produced a timely reminder of his ability. More significantly, so had Liverpool.
We needed a win, and being 2-0 down at half-time, I think the players did a marvellous job in the second half, and they showed their great commitment, and they showed that they don't lay things down.
Now here are two sides out of form. Coventry had lost their last 3. Wimbledon hadn't won since Joe Kinnear fell ill. Coventry opened the scoring with Dutchman George Boateng providing the opening for Darren Huckabee. It was his first goal after 14 matches without one. It matters. Boateng was again involved in making it 2-0. This time he fashioned an opening for Noel Whelan to score his 13th of the season. Huckabee's now scored 12. It's lucky Wimbledon have already got enough points for survival because this current run of form is worse than Nottingham Forest's. John Hartson got one back for them, but the win for Coventry means they're now within a point of safety.
The F word has been banned at St James's Park, FA Cup that is. F also stands for Ferguson's fitness. Big Duncan made his first start since late December, just 3 weeks before that cup final I'm not supposed to mention. Middlesbrough won't thank me for mentioning that 6-1 Arsenal defeat, but they bounced back when Robbie Mustoe ended a move he'd started to put the visitors 1-0 up. But Newcastle salvaged some north-eastern pride with an equaliser just 3 minutes later. Didier Domi was sent crashing by Robbie Stockdale, and that meant Alan Shearer had the chance to score his 5th penalty in 6 games. He did. The honours ended even. Just don't mention the cup.
Nottingham Forest are already down, and their manager's off too, so how would they react? Quite well, actually. Wednesday's Peter Rudy helped. His pass was picked up by Hugo Porfirio. Not many footballers called Hugo, mind you. Not many home Premiership wins for Nottingham Forest. Their last was 8 months ago. 2 minutes later, it was 2-0. Alan Rodgers scored it. Sort of. But then when things are going your way, they're going your way. And they knew their luck had changed when Benito Carboni had a penalty to make it 2-1. And Mark Crossley saved it. But why, Forest fans will think, does this always happen too late?
Sue Thurl and Ian Payne with those matches now. Man United return to the top of the table. They'll drop back to second if Arsenal beat Derby at Highbury tomorrow. United's next 3 games are all away, as we discussed. Chelsea are not yet out of the title race. Leeds won a place in Europe this afternoon. Villa stay 5th despite losing. And Southampton are out of the bottom 3 for the first time this season. Blackburn slipped back into the relegation zone, but have that game in hand. But it's at home to Manchester United. Coventry virtually secured their safety with victory over Wimbledon today. Just to point out, we've got a match of the day on Wednesday when all the contenders for the championship are in action. We'll have all those matches for you and indeed all the goals that night. That's Wednesday at 10:10. Now, before we go tonight, a chance to enter our April Goal of the Month competition. Usual form, 10 to see, top 3 to pick.
To go to half-time. This is Hasselbank, full of confidence these days. Looking for a shot, and was and scores 1-0. Barton, back to Shearer. Now this is March. Shearer lurking. And that's settled it now!
Here's Beckham. He's got Solskjaer pulling away to the left. This, though, is Sheringham. And Beckham with a chance! And a goal! A wonderful strike by David Beckham! Vieira. It's a careless pass. It's been picked up by Ryan Giggs. York has made a diagonal run, the support in the centre as well, but this is still Ryan Giggs who's past Keown, past Dixon, and has scored a sensational goal! What a moment for Ryan Giggs! Guppy, now Heskey, 1 or 2 groans from the Chelsea crowd. Tend to expect high standards from their side this season. This is Guppy. Oh, I say! He's curled it beyond the keeper.
And Liverpool making progress down the left with McManaman. That was aimed towards Leonardson. Thompson back to Redknapp! What a magnificent goal!
Break with Campbell, and it's on again as Charlton have so many players forward. And here's Jeffers, and it's 4.
Parlour. Now Dixon eventually on the overlap. Canu! So impudent, it's almost unbelievable. Vieira. Diawara was marginally offside, but not in an active area of play. This is Canu. And now it's Anelka. Parlour is free, Anelka didn't need him. And Middlesbrough have been hit for 6.
So pick your top 3 in the right order to agree with Alan and Mark, and you could be on your way to a VIP day at a match of your choice with our compliments. Finally, Men of the Day. Well, we've changed it this week to Men of the Day. Both scored vital goals. One could win the championship. The other might just be worth a few million by keeping a team in the Premiership. We've gone for Messrs Beckham and Beattie. Goodbye from us.
You know what he can do. You've got to guard against it.
A magnificent goal by James Beattie.
Showtime, ladies and gentlemen.
It's like a flash of lightning.
McGraw's on a hat-trick. Darren Goff has taken it.
Ball high in the air for John D. Road.
The 1999 Cricket World Cup. Join in, live on BBC Television and Radio. It's what colour was made for.
For pre-game analysis and features, you can visit the BBC's Cricket World Cup website at www.bbc.co.uk/cricket.